What up guys, coming at you with another AMA. It's almost summer, I'm really stoked. I'm going to San Diego next week. Gonna do a little pop-up at Ocean Pacific Gym, hand out some electrolytes, go surf as well. So yeah, pretty fun week ahead of me. A lot of work, but all fun stuff. We just launched our vitamin D capsules on Amazon. Go get them, they're made with organic olive oil instead of, as in many vitamin Ds, you'll see soybean oil or corn oil or canola oil. Why would you want that? They're 14 bucks, so they're really amazing. I take one per day when I don't get total body sun exposure. So try those out, and you can now get our products on our website, direct, santacruzpaleo.com, or on Amazon by typing in Santa Cruz Paleo. So let's get into this AMA. Thank you so much for leaving your comments below. As always, ask any questions, subscribe, and I will get to your questions. Let's get it. This question is, Brendan, why is raw milk and raw dairy better for you than just regular dairy? So there's a process called pasteurization where dairy is exposed to heat. Now this does have some benefits, obviously, because it can improve the safety profile of dairy when it's being shipped all across the United States. You know, it's staying on the shelves for a long time. It can help preserve it. However, if you are able to get your hands on raw, fresh dairy, the benefit in there is that it contains the enzyme lactase, which digests the milk sugar lactose. So in there, the enzyme lactase is killed off by pasteurization. So when you get raw dairy, that enzyme lactase is going to be in there, which is going to help your body digest lactose. And there's also just higher nutrient levels of raw dairy and more probiotics, so actual gut healing probiotics from raw dairy. That is why it's better. I wouldn't, get some sketchy source of raw dairy, but in California, there's a really good source, Raw Farm, which is available in Sprouts markets. So go look for that. I like raw butter. I like some raw dairy here and there, but yeah, it is a better option than pasteurized dairy. The next question is, Brendan, have you ever dealt with a staph infection from jiu-jitsu? Luckily, I have not ever, and I'll tell you exactly sort of how I avoid that, and I haven't gotten them. First, your skin is like an active organ. You have probiotics on your skin, you have bacteria on your skin, and your skin isn't separate from your body, it is an organ, so the health of it is really key. So after jiu-jitsu, I go home and I take a hot shower with Dr. Bronner's tea tree soap. This is crucial. If you hang out after wrestling or after jiu-jitsu and you're just hanging out, that is how staph infections happen. I have not gotten a staph infection. I've been training for a while. I've known many people who do. It's sort of difficult for some of the people that are like, the black belts that just hang out at the gym all day and train. You're at a higher risk for a staph infection, and staph infections are really serious if they get bad. So that is how I avoid them. And I also do not wipe my body's own bacteria off by using like an antibacterial soap. That is commonly done and it can mess you up. This guy's question is, Brendan, in some of your videos you seem to be talking down to people, arrogant about what your message is. I think he's probably talking about when I talk about people being obese. I think that really strikes a chord with people. So let's get into it. So we have a severe obesity problem in the United States, and lately, especially over the last 10 years, there's been this movement to basically tell people that, hey, you're healthy at any weight, it's okay if you're obese, and I just think that message is scientifically incorrect. It's not healthy to be overweight, it's not healthy to be obese in any way, shape, or form. So what I'm telling you is the truth, and if it comes off as arrogant or aggressive, or I'm saying, hey, drinking soda is a dumb decision, because it's the truth. Now, I'm not gonna hate on you if you're overweight or obese or drink soda. I don't care. If you know me in my personal life, I'm not gonna yell at somebody if they drink a soda. Now, what I think is ridiculous is when somebody is obese or, eats fast food every day and then they complain about health issues. I think that's one of the dumbest things ever, and it's actually really common in our society today. People will drink soda, they'll eat fast food, they'll be overweight, and they'll say, man, I don't feel good. I don't know why. I went to the doctor. And it is ridiculous. It's, dumb. So yeah, that's just my style. I just tell the truth, and if that does offend you, I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry. The next question is sort of about like an autoimmune paleo diet. How do you reintroduce foods after, going on a paleo diet? So I do think an elimination diet is a good idea for many people. If you're dealing with issues like autoimmune issues, you should probably do an autoimmune diet or an autoimmune paleo diet. You can just Google what the parameters of that are, but basically it's gonna eliminate any potential allergens, and then you sort of reintroduce foods. Now, how do you do that? What you wanna do is, let's say you've gone on an autoimmune paleo diet, you would want to just reintroduce one food at a time. So maybe start by eating some white rice, which I eat all the time. and eat that for a little while. And if you notice any eczema flare-ups or whatever issues you're dealing with, maybe it's gut and digestion issues or headaches, if you notice those come back and the only variable you've changed is adding in white rice, well, that might be a trigger food for you. So maybe add in white rice and you don't experience any of that. Now it's time to layer in the next, food you want to introduce. Maybe that's dairy, maybe that's, beans or whatever it is to you. You then introduce that food for a few days and monitor how you feel, and then you can introduce more and more foods. That is how you do an elimination diet, and then you reintroduce those foods, and you can really actually start to find which foods aggravate your body. And if you still choose to eat those, that's fine, it's your life, but at least now you know what your body's sensitive to. For me, it's like I'm a little bit sensitive to gluten. It's not the end of the world if I have a little bit of gluten. With like bad dairy, what I like to call like bad dairy, like pasteurized dairy, I don't do well with it at all. And how did I learn that? I learned that from reintroducing it after going without it for a while, or else your body will never know if you don't go without it. So that's a good way to sort of know where your body's at. The next question is, Brendan, Native is owned by Procter & Gamble. What are your thoughts on that? I've given Native like a B- or whatever, B+, and some of the ratings I've done for like cosmetic products, cosmetic brands. It's a pretty good brand overall, and it's really popular. It's really accessible, which I think is big. You can go into almost any Walmart or Target and get Native, and it's gonna be way better than like Old Spice and some of that stuff that clearly contains parabens, Blue One, really harsh ingredients for your skin. So what do I think about Native being owned by this mega conglomerate, Procter & Gamble? So I think it's definitely a concerning thing. We saw Primal Kitchen, which is a brand that I like, get bought by Heinz. But here's really the deal, guys. These mega corporations want to make money, and if you are voting with your dollar to buy a more natural brand and you're really looking at the ingredients, they probably aren't going to want to change the ingredients. Primal Kitchen, for example, they're not going to somehow add canola oil to Primal Kitchen. It's probably not going to happen because this is a consumer group that reads the back of those Primal Kitchen labels, sees that it's avocado oil and good ingredients, and buys it because of that. Now, I would say when a big corporation buys, your favorite brand, you better be reading that ingredient list often because they are sneaky and they will try to sneak stuff in. So just make sure you monitor the ingredients of Native and see if they don't change or if they do change. And yeah, overall, it is what it is. Not a big fan of it, but it should still be fun. The next question is, Brendan, what are some suggestions for a side dish recipe? So I'm assuming you have your protein portion of the meal like really dialed in. You're eating your chicken thighs, your salmon, your steak, your ground beef, whatever. So what are some side dishes? I'll give you a few right now. One is sweet potatoes. So you can put sweet potatoes in the oven and do like a sweet potato mash with cinnamon and butter and keep that big bowl of sweet potatoes in the fridge and then just scoop them out onto your plate. You can do roasted sweet potatoes. So cut them into little pieces, put them in the air fryer or the oven with some cinnamon, olive oil, maybe some garlic, rosemary, and boom, there you have sweet potatoes right there. You can do both those same recipes with any sort of potato. So potatoes are a really good side dish. Then we have rice. You can do normal white rice. You could do rice cooked in bone broth. You could do cilantro lime rice. You could do date rice, like date fruit rice. It's more of like a Middle Eastern style dish. And then you can have that in the fridge right there. And then you get into some of the veggies. You can have zucchini with garlic. You can, that's a good one right there. You can have your broccoli, your greens, if you're into that. Those are all good side dishes right there that you can have. What I also like to do for side dishes, like a big chimichurri that I'll have in my fridge sometimes. And in there you're getting, parsley, cilantro, some onion, some apple cider vinegar, some olive oil, some garlic, some salt. And I'll usually have that. And, for lunch a lot of times, I'm just content with having just like that with some chicken thighs, or that with some salmon, or that with some beef. And then if you want to do some more side dishes, you can do those things I talked about. Those are some of my favorites right there. The next question is about like teeth whitening. Brennan, what are the ways to get white teeth? He said there's so many harsh ingredients in toothpaste. So I use a toothpaste called Boca. And Boca has basically what is the Japanese version of fluoride, but it's not fluoride whatsoever, but it does help remineralize and whiten your teeth. It's called hydroxyapatite. You can look up Boca, B-O-K-A. That's the brand of toothpaste that I use lately. The best thing really is going to be to brush your teeth with a good toothpaste. That's going to help whiten your teeth. And it's also the timing of when you brush your teeth. If you're a coffee drinker, you really want to brush your teeth after you drink that coffee. Even for me, like I like to eat foods like blueberries and stuff at night. You better brush your teeth after eating some of those polyphenol-rich foods that have polyphenols that can stain your actual teeth. So just staying on top of that is key. But yeah, brush your teeth. I'm not really into any of the whitening strips. I don't use those. You could go to the dentist and do a whitening. But yeah, that's really going to be what you want to do. Brush your teeth with good toothpaste. The next question is, Brendan, would using beef tallow as a moisturizer make you smell like beef? So beef tallow is absolutely amazing for your skin. It's food for your skin, but a lot of people have wondered, well, am I going to smell like beef? I can't, go around smelling like beef. So the beef tallow we make is a filtered beef tallow. So it doesn't have that crazy beef smell that you might see with like an Epic brand like beef tallow that's meant for cooking. And when it's filtered, it just has way less of a smell. It does have, a smell to it, but I've never been told I smell like beef. I'd probably take that as a compliment, but I'm weird. But no, you won't smell like beef if you use a good filtered beef tallow. So look up Santa Cruz Paleo beef tallow, try that out, and let me know what you think. The next question is, Brendan, do you avoid hot tubs due to the chemicals that they use? And I think we could throw pools in there as well. Do I avoid that because chlorine and all those other chemicals that they put in there? The answer is no, not really, but I'm not gonna buy a hot tub and I'm not gonna get in the pool every single day. Put it like that. If you're somebody that's on maybe swim team or something like that and you're getting a workout in the pool, the benefits of getting that workout in far outweigh any effects that chlorine is gonna have on your body. So I would not be worried about that if you get your exercise in the pool. And as far as a hot tub goes, I think the benefits of a hot tub are probably going to outweigh any negative effects of chlorine. Do I think it's good that you're, inhaling some chlorine and probably drinking a little bit of chlorine? No, but if you're getting in the hot tub and you enjoy it and it's something that you really like, I would not stop that habit because of chlorine. The next question is, Brendan, what are some good options to drink instead of Coca-Cola? I mean, Jesus, anything, right? Almost anything at this point. So you're drinking Coca-Cola. Well, first of all, why? That's just an absolutely horrible idea. I think with a lot of these soda drinkers, what I want to get through to you is for 99.9% of the time we've been on Earth, we didn't have soda. So to say I need my soda is such a ridiculous statement. It's absurd. You do not need soda at all. All you need is water. But I understand water can get a little bit boring for people. So there are some brands like Spindrift that make, sparkling water with a little bit of crushed fruit. You can make that yourself too. I think that's a good option to quit soda. But I mean, water, raw dairy, coconut water is a good one for you soda addicts because it is a bit sweet. Those are all way better options than drinking Coca-Cola. Next question is, Brendan, I eat 6 eggs per day. Are there any negative effects of eating 6 eggs per day? So this is something we're so commonly told that, hey, you need to limit your eggs and to watch out, don't eat too many eggs, it's bad for your heart. Meanwhile, Harvard has come out and said dietary cholesterol does not move the needle of your blood cholesterol. And so many institutions have come out and said this, and doctors have come out and said this, but it really hasn't gotten through to the public. And so often I hear people say, hey, I'm making 6 eggs in the morning, and my mom or my dad is yelling at me saying it's gonna clog my heart, clog my arteries, I'm gonna, just like die. You are totally fine. Dietary cholesterol doesn't move the needle at all. Saturated fat can move your needle in terms of like your cholesterol levels, your LDL levels, but that's a whole nother topic of if that even matters if you're in shape and have low triglycerides, low HbA1c, low C-reactive protein, and you're an actual like cardio, metabolically healthy person. Do you have good cardio? Can you run a mile? You're good. Eat all the eggs you want. It's not going to matter. It's only going to benefit you. The next question is, Brendan, what do you think of fragrances? So fragrance is this term used by the fragrance industry basically to classify hundreds of thousands of chemicals, then they can sort of put whatever they want in there, and that is what either are in artificial fragrances or just when you see fragrance. So I'm not a fan of these at all. I do not think spraying colognes or getting one of these car fresheners or these plug-in things that people have in their homes is a good idea whatsoever. We don't know what's in these fragrances, and there are companies that use natural fragrances, which is definitely better. I do worry about some companies lying about it, but if you have a company that you really trust and it says natural fragrance, I think that would be a way better option because they can steam distill down different, an orange or whatever, some vanilla, and probably make a natural fragrance out of that. But the artificial fragrances are crazy. When you look at the chemical composition of some of them, it is concerning, and they can have within that fragrance parabens, phthalates, which are known endocrine disruptors, not good for your health, not good to be breathing into your lungs, guys. So I would not use anything that just says fragrance or artificial fragrance. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on fruit that's been sprayed with chemicals? So, non-organic fruit. So what I think about this is if you are going to eat the skin of that fruit, you should opt for organic. And organic can get expensive, so with like berries, for example, go to the frozen section, get some organic frozen berries and do that. I try to opt for organic when I'm eating the skin of the fruit. Now, if you're not eating the skin, I think you can absolutely get away with eating non-organic, as there is basically a barrier, a protective mechanism that the actual fruit has, so you're going to be exposed to less pesticides. We see all this sort of shill information from some of these people like Food Science Babe, who used to work for Monsanto or a big ag company, and now she comes out and makes all these videos like, don't worry about pesticides, you're good. If it's just a small amount of pesticides, you don't have to worry. I don't really think we fully know what eating a bunch of glyphosate does to our gut bacteria yet. And, you know, it is basically something that can kill off a bunch of organisms. So why would I want to eat that if I can avoid that? That's not a good idea, and I think we'll see more and more come out about the ingestion of glyphosate over the next few years. So if you're eating the skin, try to get organic. If you can get organic for everything and you can afford it, go for it. But if you're not eating the skin, you can probably get away with non-organic. Next question is, Brendan, how often do you personally have a cheat meal? So I almost never have a cheat meal with what you would consider like when a bodybuilder or somebody has like a cheat meal, or some of these people have these legendary cheat meals where they just go off and they have pizza and donuts and sort of whatever they want, and they're on purpose sort of eating bad for a day or two to do their cheat meal. I don't ever do that. I don't feel good when I do that. I like to feel good. I like to feel good all the time, and I'm never like, oh my God, I'm craving a donut so much right now that it's negatively affecting my life. So I don't ever go off and do that style of cheat meal. What I consider a cheat meal for me is I'll go out to a restaurant, I'll have some tacos, I'll go have, you know, maybe something that's not perfectly ideal, like a Chipotle or some In-N-Out, something like that. That's what I consider a cheat meal. I also use my cheat meal when I occasionally drink alcohol, which is very rarely, but occasionally I'll have a drink or two, and that is what I consider a cheat meal. You know, it's something that's not good for your health at all, but I have fun doing it. And so yeah, you really want to be real with yourself. I don't think eating one giant cheat meal per week, especially if you're doing it with like the Krispy Kreme and like pizza and all that, is good for you in any way. It's a detriment to your health. People do it and they say, hey, well, the, you know, weight gain, weight loss, all that type of stuff. Yeah, you can lose weight eating whatever if you're in a calorie deficit. You can gain muscle, you know, eating whatever if you're training hard and you're in a calorie surplus. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your hormone health, your immune function, all that type of stuff, your gut health. I wouldn't do those crazy cheat meals. I'd keep it simple. You know, go to a taco truck, something like that. The next question is, Brendan, are there any dangers to making my only protein sources ground beef and chicken throughout the week? No, I definitely don't think so. Those are two good sources of protein. Personally, I would try to throw in some higher in omega-3 fatty acid protein, so I would consider adding in fish maybe one night per week, maybe throwing in some eggs, but there's not really any negative effect of eating ground beef and chicken. For me to hit my protein goal, I think having a variety is really crucial. It's why I always go towards my protein shake, and I have one of those every single day, and then I like to have some variety. So like I'll have some chicken and then some beef. It just helps me. I notice when I have variety, I hit a bigger, higher protein goal. But if you're really crushing it with like the ground beef recipes and chicken recipes, you can make those your two staples and you thrive off that. So I think that's fine. The next question is, Brendan, what do you think about AirPods, EMFs, this whole sort of thing? So I think it's really interesting, and I have looked into it. What I have not seen is any extremely convincing evidence that like AirPods are killing you right away. There isn't anything that's come out that's like, I know people are gonna think that I'm somebody that's like, you know, completely anti-AirPod, and I'll tell you in a bit of like what I do personally. But I haven't seen anything currently that says like EMFs are going to cause like some broad scale damage. First of all, if you're living in the modern world right now, we're around, you know, a bunch of Wi-Fi signals. Like, you're not necessarily escaping EMFs by not wearing AirPods. Now, I have seen studies saying like the actual physical heat of an AirPod or a, you know, computer like on your lap can have negative function. So I agree with that. I think there's some merit to that. But here's what I do. When it's, you know, daytime and I need to wear my AirPods to the gym, I wear them to the gym because they're extremely, you know, anybody knows this, they're just great. They are great to wear to the gym. You can work out. They're not going to fall out of your ears. You don't have the cord. So I wear my AirPods to the gym. And when I'm at home and I'm listening to, you know, podcasts or whatever it is, I wear the wired headphones. Why I do this is just because I want to see more research done on AirPods, on EMFs, on, you know, Bluetooth devices, wearing them. I wouldn't be surprised if more damning research comes out about them. But for right now, I'm not somebody that's never going to wear an AirPod. but I try to sort of avoid it. And a similar thing that I do that I'll tell you about is there is evidence that wearing polyester clothing can possibly affect your, basically your sperm motility and sperm health. There's an actual like very interesting paper on that. Now it's one paper. Am I gonna not wear board shorts while I'm surfing because of that paper? No. But what I will do is at night, I'll sleep with organic cotton boxers. I'm not gonna wear, board shorts to bed. So basic changes like that, I think are a good sort of hedge against some of this stuff until more research comes out, because we don't have any really conclusive research on AirPods, on EMFs, and on other stuff like polyester clothing. The next question is, Brendan, are there any long-lasting effects on soybean oil? Like after you've cut them out of your diet, are there any long-lasting effects? So I've seen some people talk about this, that, seed oils stay in your fat for 5 to 7 years. I don't really see any evidence that would be the case. That doesn't really make any sense. What does make sense is that you do have an omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. And if you've skewed it so far in the favor of omega-6 by consuming seed oils for so long, you really do want to focus on getting your omega-3 fatty acids up through foods like, wild fish, through good grass-fed beef, pasture-raised eggs, stuff like that, raising that omega-3 content and lowering that omega-6 a little bit to bring it into a balance. We used to be at, 4 to 1 omega-3 to omega-6. Now we're around 100 to 1 in many people, or 20 to 1 in healthier people of omega-6 to omega-3. So that can be sort of a lasting negative effect of consuming seed oils a lot. But overall, I'm not into this, they stay in your, fat forever. I don't see any evidence for that, so I wouldn't worry about it. The good thing is just minimizing them, cutting them out as best you can, I think is gonna definitely lead you towards better health and feeling better. The next question is, Brendan, are cashew nuts a healthy snack? So the interesting thing about cashew nuts is they do contain a good amount of like tryptophan and other somewhat beneficial compounds, but the reason I don't eat a lot of nuts, I'm not opposed to eating a little bit, is the phytic acid. Nuts are extremely rich in phytic acid. We hear, Carnivore MD and a lot of people talk about phytic acid, and I think there's some scaremongering there, because when you really look at the amount of phytic acid that someone's gonna consume, oftentimes it's not a lot, and there's ways to reduce phytic acid in foods like oats by like soaking them. But nuts actually do contain a lot of phytic acid. If you get a significant amount of your protein through trail mix or nuts, that's probably not a good idea, and you can pretty quickly get a ridiculous amount, frankly, of phytic acid. There are real things with plant defense chemicals, and if you want an example of that, speaking of cashew nuts, you cannot eat raw cashew nuts. You will die. Okay, you would die if you ate a small handful of raw cashew nuts, you're dead. So that's something that's like clear with plant defense chemicals. Obviously, nobody's gonna sell you raw cashew nuts, but yeah, if you like them, eat some. I wouldn't make them a main source of protein. The next question is, Brendan, I'm starting to think of going to college. What do you think about UC Santa Cruz? I went to UC Santa Cruz. I loved it. I think it's a great campus. It's beautiful. The people are really cool. It's a cool town, great education. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. I do think college is starting to matter, a little bit less, but I think there's tremendous benefits to college. I'm never gonna be one of those people that's on TikTok telling people to not go to college. You can benefit tremendously from it, and it does matter, especially depending on what you wanna do. So yeah, I would recommend it. The next question is, Brendan, are there any supplements that are researched that actually help with weight loss? The real answer is no. There really aren't any supplements that are gonna massively drive the needle in terms of weight loss. The thing that will really move the needle that some people consider a supplement is a protein powder. Why is this? When you get calories from protein, it is way more difficult for your body to then consume more calories from carbohydrates, from fats, and they've done studies on this. When people consume a high protein diet, they end up basically self-regulating their calories. Weight loss is about calories in, calories out. You could do it with all the foods I hate, honestly. But to make it easier on your body and on your hormones, on your immune system, on your skin health, on your gut health, I highly recommend doing it with unprocessed whole food. And supplements, caffeine is another one that can make it so basically you have less leptin and ghrelin, less ghrelin, so like you'll be a little less hungry. So caffeine is one that can help. But a lot of those weight loss supplements, they're just blasting you with caffeine. You could just have coffee in the morning, and that's probably a beneficial thing right there. Other than that, I haven't seen any supplements that really move the needle with weight loss. Just work out hard, be in a calorie deficit, drink a little coffee, and you'll be good. Okay, the next question is, Brendan, I'm 170 pounds. I wanna weigh 150 pounds. How do I go down in weight? So what you wanna do is you wanna find out how many calories you're probably burning throughout the day. There's many ways to do this. You can wear a fitness tracker, you can put data into, there's a lot of online tools to sort of figure out how many calories you burn today. You're gonna have basically the amount of calories that you burn by doing nothing, and then you're gonna have, how much do you walk per day? Do you exercise? Find out that general number right there, and then you're gonna wanna find out how many calories you're consuming. This is done by basically tracking what you eat throughout the day. So when you wake up, what do you eat? You can enter this into online tools and figure out basically how many calories you're consuming. From there, you create a calorie deficit. How do you do this? I think the best way to do it is by exercising. Burn more calories, eat the pretty much the same amount that you're eating, find that area where you're in that 500 calorie deficit and do that. If you literally do that for 30 days, you will start to lose weight. And if you want to increase it, you can increase the amount of calories that you're burning. You can increase that calorie deficit. To make this easy on yourself, I'd highly recommend eating a high protein, moderate fat, and low carbohydrate diet. The reason is you have hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin, and your body is complicated. There are hormones going on. There are, food cravings that your brain produces, that your gut produces. And if you try to do this with eating a really high carb diet, it's totally possible. People have done it. I think it's a lot harder, especially after talking to hundreds and hundreds of people who have done this. Go high protein, moderate healthy fat, lower carbs, still eat some carbohydrates, and be in a calorie deficit, and you will see the pounds come off. The next question is, Brendan, what is the best thing to drink while you're in the sauna? You're getting that good sweat in, you're starting to see the benefits of sauna therapy. What is the best thing to drink? So the best thing to drink in the sauna is water and electrolytes. This can be done through water and adding some sea salt. The next level up is doing water and some of our Santa Cruz Paleo electrolytes, because there's gonna be magnesium and potassium in there. That's really good. And then another good option is like coconut water. Coconut water does have some natural sugar, so maybe if you're really trying to cut weight or slim out, it might not be the best option as it is a little more calorically dense, but coconut water would be a good option. You want to make sure to get water with some good sea salt in there. It's gonna give your body the electrolytes that you need to replenish after you've gotten that good sweat in. All right guys, that's it for this week's AMA. As always, leave your questions in this one and I'll get to them next week. Gonna head down to San Diego, get some surfs in with Austin the Marine, hand out some electrolytes to people. Super stoked. We're gonna restock some of those flavors and release mango in June, and we're working on the grass-fed whey. I'm hoping it's gonna come late June on the grass-fed whey. Super stoked on releasing that one. And you can go to santacruzpaleo.com, use the code SantaCruz10 there. If you want any of the CBD formulas, go to scmedicinals.com, use the code May20. And yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for subscribing. Leave your questions below and I'll get to them.